What's up guys, Gamers Joe here back on another video. Today's video is what if Geoff and Bridgette were team captains in Total Drama Action. So let's begin. So the first thing episode 1 is I'm going to quickly cover this, but basically the Monster Crash Challenge. What I'm thinking is for this to happen is Geoff and Bridgette just don't make out for the entire 2 episodes they're in. And then basically they're more focused on the challenge. And I still think that Owen would win this challenge because I don't think Geoff and Bridgette would be good at something like this. And Duncan, he lasted the longest besides Owen, but it's a non-elimination, which I'm keeping as a non-elimination. Episode 2, so this is the big one. This is getting the eggs. Okay, so in this challenge, Geoff and Bridgette would now be allowed to go with Duncan because he says originally, I'm not going to let the lovebirds go with me because they always get attacked first. So they would probably travel with Duncan and DJ. And then it would be down to, everybody else gets shot, be down to Beth, Justin, LaShawna, Lindsay all get shot like the original. I expect Izzy to do her fake death scene against Chef like the original. Harold gets shot. Heather gets shot. I expect Owen as well. And DJ gets shot by himself. And then I expect of these the fight down to the final 5. Trent will still save the necklace like the original, and I believe him and Gwen get shot here. Geoff and Bridgette would take cover, and they are team captains. So they win immunity. So who gets voted off? Well, usually it's Geoff and Bridgette because they're making out, but now that wouldn't happen in this timeline. So the 2 people who I think would get voted off, because this is a double elimination, which I'm keeping as a double elimination. LaShawna, because LaShawna was in the bottom 3 originally. Like, it was between Geoff, Bridgette, and LaShawna. So LaShawna and Heather, because everyone hates Heather. So I think they would be the hosts of the Aftermath. Now, I don't know how well they'd work together, because obviously they don't like each other, which I think would be quite interesting, like working with your enemy on the host of the Aftermath. Let me know how you think LaShawna and Heather would do as hosts. That would be interesting. So, forming the teams. I'm going to put Geoff on the gaffers. Actually. Geoff on the gaffers. And Bridgette on the grips. I just think it's more interesting doing it this way. So, and Bridgette goes first and she picks Gwen, because we're Friendship and Island. Geoff goes next and he picks DJ. Then Trent, she'll pick Trent because Bridgette likes Trent and she seems to get on with him very well. I think Geoff will choose Izzy. Sorry, not Izzy, I'm Duncan. Before Izzy, I think he picked Duncan. And Geoff will choose Izzy. Bridgette chooses Lindsay. I think Geoff will choose Owen. Lindsay chooses Beth because Lindsay wants Beth on her team. And Bridgette will choose Justin because Beth and Lindsay really want Justin, and Harold's just left on the gaffers. So this is the teams for the season. Pretty big differences, I must say. So, yes, I mean, obviously, and LaShawna wouldn't say that line Heather because they're not here this time, so that wouldn't happen. The rivalry between Trent and Duncan would be a lot less because first of all, a lot of different teams, and he's on the same team as Gwen, which I will make a what if as well. And another one being, what if Gwen and Trent never broke up? So, the first part of the challenge is bringing the equipment, carrying the equipment. DJ would refuse like the original. I expect that the gaffers, Trent, would be able to carry it with Lindsay, Beth, Justin, Gwen, Bridgette would carry it. I think the gaffers, Geoff could carry it. Like, considering Owen could put it up by himself, I think Geoff could definitely do it. I think the gaffers just win the first part of the challenge, bringing the equipment up, because I think the gaffers have more powerful players compared to the grips, pretty unfairly. So this is the grandma and the gangster scene. So the grandma, it is, I think it would be Beth, and the gangster Izzy would want to do it. I think Duncan would do it, but I think Izzy really wants to do it. So I think Izzy would still actually want to do it. DJ, Chef would make his alliance with DJ in this episode. And I think the grips would actually win the challenge. Grandma would be Beth. So it comes down to, could Beth do a better job than Izzy? And I think yes. I think the gaffers are losing this challenge. E-Scope is still eliminated because the events, for me to believe, haven't changed enough for me to believe that these same people wouldn't go home. So E-Scope is just eliminated, but Izzy will come back later on. Episode 4. This is the surfing board challenge. First of all, Trent's not throwing challenges for Gwen because they're on the same team. Geoff and Bridgette would be pretty good at this. DJ was pretty good in the original. I think I'm unsure between these guys who would actually win. I probably think the gaffers still win the challenge because I don't see anybody else besides Bridgette being good in this team. But it doesn't matter, it's a non-elimination. Episode 5. This is jumping on the whole screen. You know how everybody else does, but the only person we don't know is Geoff and Bridgette. And do I think they could land on it for the first part? My answer is yes. I think Geoff and Bridgette could land on the horses. And obviously, episode 4, Trent's number 9 obsession, forgot mention. But I think Gwen could talk to Trent. They would actually be gossiping. I feel like that she can talk Trent out of his obsession and get him back to how Trent was on Island. Which I'm okay with him having a lucky number. But what I wasn't okay with is, when was this brought? At no point was this brought up. That has nothing to do with the theory. Trent's not throwing the challenge this time. But Harold, he's Harold. He's got mad skills. Duncan's pretty fast. DJ by himself would win this challenge. So I think the gaffers would actually win this challenge. So Justin gets Beth and Lindsay to vote Trent. And I'm thinking that Gwen just gets fed up with Trent and breaks up with him. Actually, I don't think she would this time because he's not throwing challenges. So they don't break up. Bridgette. Justin realizes Trent and Gwen, they're a couple. They're a threat. So I think he can convince Bridgette to vote for Trent because he's been acting weird and he's losing it. Actually, he wouldn't be losing it this time. I don't think he'd lose it as badly. So he would still have his lucky number, but he wouldn't lose his mind over Gwen Duncan because they're on different teams. But I think Trent would still get eliminated. Slightly different reasons to the original. It's not that they don't like him or he's strange in this, it's just in this version that Gwen and Trent's relationships are a lot more threatening. And I think they can see that. They could see that Justin realizes that if it comes down, let's say like all these guys are gone, and if it came down to Trent and Gwen, they're also going to choose each other. So, and Bridgette realizes it as well. And I know he would see Lindsay and Beth as options, but he realizes that they're more useful to him than Trent. So I think Trent is still eliminated in episode 5. Which is it. I am happy for how far he got, but I do wish Trent was involved, so I think he could have been a really good character in that season. Episode 6. Chef Shank Redemption. Big thing here, because Gwen and Trent never break up, Justin can't blackmail Trent Gwen to throw the challenge, and they're on the same team now. So really, Justin gains nothing by getting Gwen to throw the challenge. So the first part of the challenge would be selecting the person to throw in the cage, and Lindsay we know does it for the gaffers. She did for the grips. But who would the gaffers choose? I think they would choose Duncan, because they don't know what, they don't know what the challenge is necessarily. Like, they think it's a breakout situation. So it's where I think we'll throw up first. And DJ would still ask to put Mama Spice on Lindsay's food, and the retainer would still go in it. I think Duncan would win that challenge, because I think Duncan has an iron stomach, and I don't think Lindsay would be that good at this. So Duncan wins the challenge. And I imagine that Duncan's quite crafty and would have been quite smart in juvie, figuring out situations how to sort out rations as well. So I think he would win that challenge. I think DJ would push for his team, because originally Gwen spoke him out of it, but now they're on different teams and Gwen has no reason to do that. DJ would push. The grips would be Lindsay, and I think this is actually pretty close, considering the fact that Gwen's not throwing the challenge now and she wouldn't be trying to slow them down. So I think ultimately, the team that actually win the challenge, I ultimately think that the team that would win the challenge would be, I'm going to say the gaffers. Izzy still comes back to the game, so Izzy would still return. The difference is in episode 6 would have been, obviously, that's wrong episode 6 is Aftermath, would have been Trent wouldn't sing his breakup song. Izzy's back on the gaffers, so I think the gaffers win. So the grips lose again. But this time, Gwen wouldn't get voted off, because there's really no reason for that to happen now. So I think Justin would realise that Lindsay and Beth are... Because Justin's quite methodical, he's quite somewhat smart as well. Like, I wouldn't say he's manipulative as Heather, and definitely Alejandro. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Justin realises Lindsay and Beth are close. I think he realises their friendship. I think he would realise that, because I think he could get those two to vote for Bridgette. I think Bridgette and Gwen would vote for Justin. I think Bridgette's out. And that was one I kind of struggle with, because I could see Justin getting rid of Beth or Lindsay, but they're useful to him right now. Bridgette's more of a liability. Geoff and Bridgette are the last couple. Owen and Izzy are on the same team that side, and he realizes if he gets rid of Bridgette, he could just ask Gwen to create a tiebreaker with these two, and chance beating them in a tiebreaker. So I think he realizes if he gets rid of one of his allies, he's taking a risk, but I think Justin would rather take that chance. So I think Bridgette would actually be eliminated in episode 7. And that's Bridgette out. Episode 8. So, who wins the challenge? Duncan would still forget to study. I think Geoff could forget to study as well. I think that would be kind of funny if Geoff did as well. And Gwen. And those three kind of have to work together. I think the gaffers would probably win it, but it's not an elimination. Episode 9. This is a scaring challenge. Duncan would want to do it with Chef versus DJ like in the original. For the grips, I think Gwen would do it. Actually, no, I think Beth, because she does it originally. It was stated by Lindsay that Beth can't actually scream. So I think it makes more sense for her to obviously be the person who's the scarer. DJ would get scared by Chef, and then he would scare Harold. Lindsay isn't doing that leadership arc now, because first of all, Heather's not here, so she really has no reason to do that now. In the woods, I think Beth would be able to scare Justin. Now, ultimately, I think Beth would get that point because I think Justin would be more easier to scare than Harold. In the bathroom, it would be Lindsay and I think Geoff. I actually think that the Grips would still get that point. And make our team, we know it's Owen and Izzy, and it would be Gwen and Justin. And I think they get the point. So to the Gaffers 1 point, to the Grips 2 points for the first part of the challenge. I'm guessing that they now win, so they win that part of the challenge. So the second part of the challenge is scaring the Gaffers. So this was basically if the Gaffers were scared by the Grips, if they left the room, they lose. If they stayed, they win. Owen would lick the walls like the original realising this is ketchup, because I think someone like Gwen could think of the fake blood somewhat similar to Duncan, because they were really good at the scary movie theme challenge. I think Duncan would be really good at this, because I don't think Duncan would be the type of person who'd be scared of something like this. And I think Duncan would kind of take a leadership role to tell his team that's fine, there's no need to panic. And I think, even though Harold doesn't like Duncan, I think the rest would agree and kind of listen to him. So I think the Gaffers win the challenge. And I think probably Gwen would have gone home. But DJ still has his alliance with Chef still. So which means after this challenge, regardless of who wins and loses the challenge, DJ is an automatic elimination for DJ as he quits the game. So I did enjoy my What If DJ Never Quit video, so that I'm very proud of that video as well. Episode 10. Owen is still acting his jaw broken by was it his jaw saying broken, but other than that it's a non-elimination. I would say at this point that obviously Geoff would be sad DJ's gone. And other than that it's a non-elimination. Episode 11. So this is basically the plane challenge, and this was the part of the season at this point where Justin was starting to have that losing his looks arc. And Izzy would still try to push Owen out the plane. She's unsuccessful. Owen's then chased up by Chris, and everyone's thrown out the plane. So the second part of the challenge, Duncan would still set the traps. And I think that ultimately, in this case, the Gaffers would still win. I think the Gaffers win because Owen drinks his juice, so no one's farting, unlike Lashawna. I think Geoff could be good at this, so I think the Gaffers actually win. Justin realises he has no reason to vote off Gwen, because obviously Gwen never said the line is never judged Justin's looks, unlike Izzy, when she says because he has no reason to vote off. Justin in this version realizes that, let's say he votes off Gwen, and now we can't use the looks. Who would Lindsay and Beth choose to take the finale? So I think Justin, he gets Gwen, and I think Gwen would initially write Justin off, and I think Justin says, okay, you don't have to like me, but if it came down to it, who would Beth and Lindsay choose in the finale? I think that Gwen's attention. Lindsay and Beth, I think, would vote for Justin because he's not very helpful in the challenges. And Gwen, Justin, it's a bit tricky to figure out who they would vote for, but I have to assume that they would vote for Beth, because Beth's the smarter of the two in this timeline. And I think that's what would happen. Now, in a Justin Beth tiebreaker, I don't know what a tiebreaker could be in this episode, because in this original episode there wasn't a tiebreaker. I think Justin could beat Beth in just about any tiebreaker, because Justin's physically athletic. I think Justin's stronger than Beth. I think Beth's losing that tie. The only tiebreaker she might beat him in is the vomit comment, but I can't say for certain that would be the tiebreaker. So Beth's out. Episode 12. Episode 12 is an aftermath. Episode 13, but I did struggle with episode 11 because I could see Justin losing that tiebreaker, so let me know what you think there. Episode 13. So this is where Courtney comes back. So for the first part of the challenge, this is capturing somebody in the vault. And I think I'm going to have Justin get captured. And I think I'm going to have probably Owen still. When Izzy hears this, she runs off. Everyone tries to free Owen. I think with Izzy on the team, I think the gaffers would only just do better in this challenge. And because Owen never sniffs the food because Beth's not here, I think Izzy could just rip the door off. So I think Owen gets out. Gwen and Lindsay are forced to leave Justin in the vault because the gaffers are so far ahead. This is where Courtney will then be reintroduced. Courtney would still give the winning prize to the gaffers because Duncan's on their team. Courtney is second prize, so she gets put onto the grips. Which isn't a bad thing, because most certainly they were running out of people. And Duncan would say it's almost like Duncan was rigorous because he says it's like almost like stripping a car but in reverse. Owen's not chasing anyone round this time because he's not hallucinating by smelling the food. And Courtney, obviously the car would fall apart. The grips have to carry it across. I think the gaffers would still win. Everyone votes for Courtney, and Courtney's vote's the only one that counts. So who would Courtney vote for? And I think it's pretty obvious. It sucks. It's Gwen. Like, she has no real reason to vote off Justin. Lindsay, probably not. Like, considering that Courtney didn't like Gwen for being with Duncan, I think she would want to get rid of Gwen here. So I think Gwen's out. So actually, Gwen did a lot better than the original, so wow. So Gwen is unfairly booted off. But she wouldn't be able to see the show this time, unlike Owen, because she doesn't have her jaw broken. Episode 14. Episode 14 is an elimination. Episode 15, this is the Superheroes Challenge. I'm thinking for this, the grips will just compete again, and because Owen has his jaw broken, I'm thinking that in this challenge, Chris says he can't compete because he has an injury. That's what I'm thinking. So in the slow boxing challenge, it would still be Harold and Lindsay. Like the original Harold would do to slow motion, so he'd get the point. The slow motion, while Lindsay would be doing it pretty fast. Harold would get the point for doing slow motion. In the badminton challenge, it would be Justin, and I think, if I'm being honest, I think Geoff. I think Geoff's realistic. I don't know who'd win because I don't know how good they are, but I'm going to say Justin because I think Justin was pretty good at the basketball challenge. So I feel like Justin would be pretty good at sports. So I think Justin gets the point. Obviously, this was the point where they did the trash talking was revealed, but because LaShawna's not here, that never happens. So the fighting challenge is pretty unchanged. It'd be Duncan versus Courtney. I think Courtney would get that point. In the basketball, it would be Justin and Izzy. Considering how Justin was gloating a bit and Izzy's crazy, I think the grips actually win, so they have 2 points. The gaffers have 2 points. The grips still win by doing their Chris cheer. So they win, meaning that Lindsay, Courtney, Justin all make it to merge. So who do they vote for? I think Duncan sees Izzy as a big threat, and they're a couple. And I think he goes to Harold. And I think Jeff's kind of the LaShawna in this episode. And initially, I think Harold writes Duncan off. And I think Duncan would say, and Geoff says, "Look, Harold, I know you don't like Duncan. Let's vote off Izzy, and we'll get rid of Duncan next. You can get rid of Duncan next time. Just for this one time, can you vote with us? I think we have a one-time deal." And I think Harold would agree to that. I think Izzy would actually get voted off here. So Izzy in a 3-2 vote with, I think, these two voting for Geoff. Because Geoff's a popular candidate. Izzy is actually eliminated. So Izzy is eliminated. Actually, I'm not sure if Duncan would vote for Izzy. He is closer to Owen. But I might think he votes. I think he would vote for Izzy still. I think Izzy is gone. So these three vote for Izzy, these two vote for Geoff. I think these two did vote for Harold. And Duncan would want to vote for Harold, but I think Duncan stick to the plan. He's getting rid of Izzy. Like, he's used his two-person alliance. I mean, Courtney's in the merge. Yeah, I think Izzy's gone here, so Izzy's out. Merge day. The gaffers. So the only difference we have is we have Harold and Owen as a result. So the only real differences here we don't have is Beth, LaShawn, and instead of where we have new people are Geoff and Owen. And obviously, yeah, that's Geoff. Episode 16. We can skip the Alpha Murder because it's a non-elimination. So episode 17 rolls around, and this is the hero costume challenge. We know what everybody else makes. We just don't know what Geoff and Owen makes because they weren't here originally. I think Geoff and Owen can make decent costumes. I think Geoff's will be like Surfer Bro or something, and Owen's like Captain O or something. I'm not sure, but Lindsay still wins the 10-second head start. Like, it's 10 seconds. It's not a massive win for the challenge overall. So Lindsay wins the 10-second head start, and Geoff's pretty good. I don't see Geoff or Owen being Courtney, and I think Courtney would still win immunity. So LaShawn is not here this time to be a target. So I think Courtney gets Duncan, Geoff, and says, let's get rid of Harold because he rigged the votes last season. So these three vote for Harold. Harold votes for Duncan. Justin probably votes for Duncan. Lindsay votes for Duncan. Owen is the swing vote. And it's kind of tricky to figure out who Owen would side with, but using the logic that Owen and have never been on the same team before, they've been on the same team. They haven't been known each other as long. How well do they really know each other? I think, assuming from that, he's closer to Duncan, so I ultimately think Owen's going to side with Duncan, Courtney, and Geoff to get rid of Harold. So I think Harold's out. Episode 18. Episode 18 is Aftermath. Episode 19 is The Princess Bride. So Courtney is the princess. Duncan's Little Red Riding Hood. Owen's the Hooded Hood'em. Lindsay's Sleeping Beauty. Geoff's the ugly stepbrother now because we have more guys than girls. And Justin's the Frog Prince. So the first part of the challenge is going across the bridge. So who would fall? I think Owen would fall because I don't think he's got good balance. And Lindsay would fall like the original, which means Geoff and Justin. I think Geoff would get across. I think Geoff would have pretty good balance. I think he'd get across. Duncan's still cheats with one eye, seen like the original. Justin calls him out for cheating. Harold was the one who actually calculated the time that will take for them to get to the top to get to Courtney, but he's not here this time. So I just think if it gets to the top, I don't think Geoff would get to the top. they're still fighting each other. I think Justin still gets to the top by using his looks on the monsters, gets to the top, and Courtney still wins immunity. And I'm gonna say Justin would still actually he gets Owen. I think he might be able to get Lindsay one last time and vote for Geoff. I think these three count as well for Justin. But Justin, Geoff tie. I think Geoff's winning that tie realistically, and Justin's still going home. Episode 20. So this is the Rock Challenge. Owen doesn't come back as a mole this time because he was never eliminated. And I did consider if Chris would let Gwen come, but as back to mole, but considering that Owen needed the money and for her cheese locker, I don't think she would. And plus, she's with Trent and kind of rekindling their friendship and relationship as well, and sort out their relationship. I don't think Gwen would see the point going back as a mole as a result. Sure, I think she would say it was probably unfair how she was booted off, but I don't think she would want to go back as a mole. So, we don't have a mole in this timeline. Owen never becomes a mole. And Gwen doesn't come back as a mole in this version of the story. And I think that's what I think would happen in universe, not decision. So episode 20 rolls around, and for the first part of the challenge would be the guitars. Lindsay would still get executed like the original. Owen would still jump off the platform. Geoff would be pretty good at this. I think Duncan would win it because Duncan says towardly, this is my order in now. So I think Duncan was really good at this originally. So Courtney does her paparazzi high five like the original. Duncan still signs the girl, the girls would still sign the girl and flip her off. He does what he does originally. Lindsay, she'd be alright at this. And Owen just rolls there. So I think Geoff would be decent. Would be really good at this considering he was the host of the Aftermath originally and is quite a people person. So the trash talk of the rooms, Courtney would still win immunity. So Lindsay isn't distracted this time by Beth to vote herself. So she votes for Duncan. Geoff probably would vote for Duncan. Courtney and Duncan, I think, vote for Geoff. Because in this case, Lindsay, I think, would vote for Geoff. Because I think they would realise it's like a popularity contest again. So I think they all vote for Owen because they realise that if it came down to it, who's Owen gonna... Owen's been in the finals before, and he's a pretty popular guy, so I think Duncan and Courtney votes for Owen. Duncan's forced to vote for Owen, and Geoff votes for Lindsay. Lindsay votes for Geoff. And I think Geoff could beat Owen in just about any tiebreaker, so I think these three vote for... Oh, actually, I don't think Geoff would vote for Owen, so I think these three just vote for Lindsay. So Lindsay is still out here. Actually, I think the popular candidate again, I think it would be like a situation where Duncan realises Geoff and Owen are pretty popular guys. And I think he would put off Lindsay there. And next time they go to elimination again, Duncan's going to have to decide who he wants to keep. So, episode 21. So the first part of the challenge is who would win. I think Geoff is the... My bad about episode 21 that was. Episode 22, non-elimination. Episode 23. So the first part of the challenge would be the plane, and I think now there's no... I think Courtney wins that part of the challenge. So the vomit comment, I think, makes sense for because Courtney want to go last because I think it makes sense the most challenges. So it would be Geoff, Owen, and Duncan. We know everybody else does. We don't know how Geoff does in this challenge, which makes me think that Duncan would actually win this challenge because Courtney would. I know she does originally, but I think Courtney would refuse to go into it. So I think Owen would vote for Courtney. Courtney votes for Geoff. Duncan could either cause a tie and vote for Courtney. These two vote for Courtney. Geoff votes for Duncan. No, they vote for Courtney. Courtney votes for Geoff because he's a popular candidate. I think he votes for Courtney, and I think Courtney is eliminated. So fourth place, Courtney is actually eliminated. Episode 24, Owen picks the bear, Duncan gets the chameleon, and Geoff picks the raccoon because I don't get why Courtney wanted to pick the shark originally. That was always bizarre to me. So everyone gets it's a race to the end. Owen's not sabotaging anyone this time. So I think Geoff has the easiest job of getting his animal to the end, where Duncan's chameleon can disappear on him, and Owen has a bear, which is he can't carry around a bear, and their animals would take some time, whereas Geoff could just go up and grab it and run to the finish line. So I think Geoff makes it to the finale. So Duncan and Owen vote for each other. Now, this would be a good opportunity for Geoff to betray Duncan. However, who would Geoff want to face in the finale? Because he doesn't know we're going to have Promise 25, but and this is a single elimination now because we only have 3 people, so we didn't have an extra person because we didn't have a mole. And I think Owen would still eliminate here because even though he's not a mole, I think they would realise that Owen's more of a threatening player in the finale. So Owen's out. Episode 25. And Duncan and Geoff clean the bathrooms for the first part of the challenge. They get shot through the cannon and they race to the end so Geoff can answer the questions. I think Geoff would be good at this because he's a people person, and I don't think Duncan's necessarily the best at this. So Duncan takes a while, which allows Geoff to catch up. They race to the end. However, this episode has to end in a tie because we have one more episode. So episode 25, they both get to the end. They race each other and they both draw. So they each get winning endings in episode 26. I did not expect Geoff to be a finalist in this season, so they all do the tiebreakers, and Chris gets them to vote. And they do the tiebreakers, and Chris tells them to vote. There's only 4 votes there's only about 5 or 6 votes in the jar, which I found bizarre, but I found a bit of logic for that. Owen is seen in the confessional farting, so I think I assume what's happened is they got that horrible smell, and they just got out and didn't vote. So Courtney doesn't get a vote. Who would everyone vote for? Owen, I'm not sure who he'd vote. Owen is the swing vote, I think, in either ending. Courtney doesn't get a vote. Lindsay would vote for Geoff. Justin would vote for Geoff, that's 2. Harold would vote for Geoff, that's 3. I think Izzy would actually vote for Duncan. So 1 for Duncan. Gwen, Duncan. Beth, Duncan, so that's 3. DJ would vote for Geoff because he's closer, that's 4. 5, Geoff. 6. Well, Shauna would vote for Geoff. Heather, I think, would actually vote for Duncan because I think she would just like his attitude overall. And in Duncan's winning ending, the people who are going to vote for Geoff pass out and leave the confessional, and Geoff's winning ending, the people who don't vote for Duncan passes out and leaves. So my kind of winner would be Duncan. That's just because he's my favourite character, but let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Thank you guys for watching. This is the elimination order and how I think the season would have gone if Bridgette and Geoff were the team captains in Total Drama Action. So let me know if you want a second part to this theory, because I will, if this does well, I will actually make a second part and going into World Tour. So yeah, peace for all.